What's the biggest fear that you have? Maybe it's fear of elevators. That's mine. Maybe it's fear of spiders. Maybe it's fear of rejection or like stage fright. What I've found and what I've noticed throughout all these different fears is that the core of this, the core of fear, is just fear of dying. That's like what every fear at the end of the day boils down to. It's death. Like, for example, someone is scared that they're not going to get into med school. And if they don't get into med school, they're not going to have a job because they can't imagine having any other job other than being a doctor. And if they don't have a job, then they can't earn money. If they don't have money, they can't eat. And if they don't eat, they die. So all these fears that we have in life, it just boils down to death. And so let's talk about death. You've probably heard of Alex Hormozy, and Alex provided me with two really important thoughts that I thought are important when it comes to thinking about us dying, like me, the individual, dying. And that first thing is that we have to make the most of life with what we've got, because we're gonna die. And you can't be sitting here for weeks at a time not making a decision, because one day you're gonna die. The people who move along fast, who get the most out of life, who actually do cool things, have it on their mind that they're gonna die. And so, if you're going to die, you might as well do that thing that you've been wanting to do anyway, because your 85-year-old self is gonna look at your 21, 20, 19-year-old self and say, why did you wait? You could have done it right then. And imagine how much more progress you could have made over that time. So, any of your dreams, they're so important. Not everyone has dreams. If you have a dream, that's amazing. Go do it. Because if you don't, you'll die without having done that dream. And the second thing is, because we die, who cares what anybody else thinks? You can't let other people, because they said something and they don't even matter to you, maybe it's just a passing comment from a high school person you're not going to see for the rest of your life, their opinions don't matter. So don't be dragged, or don't be pulled, or don't be contained by the comments or opinions of people who don't matter, of people who are going to die, because you're going to die. So just live genuinely.
The only opinion that matters is the undying will of the God of Israel.
For me personally, more than elevators is the fear of mortality and aging. It's terrifying. Getting old. Imagine you're at an age and your knees give out and you get knee replacement surgery. You can't do the things that you were able to do. That time's gone, you know? Imagine that pain of nostalgia. Imagine the passing of your mother. Not necessarily my own passing, but what scares me more is when other people pass away. And let me ask you a question. What would hurt you more? Finding out you're infertile or living past your spouse? It's such a harrowing question, but especially for the past 6-8 months, I used to think that infertility was one of the most terrible things a couple could go through. But what's worse, you outliving your spouse. Imagine living 30, 40 years after your spouse is gone from this earth. Personally, I think the latter is more terrifying, more saddening. People will talk about, if you leave me in this earth, they'll follow close behind. Because what's left on this earth after your lover is gone? So here's a couple thoughts that I just have on this. You know, when we think of age, you getting old, it's your opportunity where you have to kind of realize that your life is done. Your current responsibility now is to mentor the next people, the people who are close to you, who you care about, and people you want to pour into, because your mind is crystallized. It may not be as sharp or as malleable as it was when you were young, but you have all this information, you have all this wisdom to give. Don't die in that grave with all this wisdom in your mind that you just haven't given away. And I think that's kind of the way God made this system to work too. for you to have all this wisdom and to pour it out into the next people so that they can fulfill their dreams and to glorify God with their own lives. You know, every stage of life is an opportunity to glorify God. And at that particular stage, when your knees are giving out, it's give what you can, give what you have, your wisdom. And as you know, wisdom is one of the most powerful things in this world. When I think about nostalgia, you know, I think of late Minecraft nights. You know, I'm sure that's a common memory for many other people. But if you're missing those times, it simply means that your current life is not enriched to where you're excited about your life now, because the hope, actually, surprisingly, is that your life gets better at every season. It gets more exciting. You're doing more things that you love. And if you're having nostalgia, you're doing something wrong. You need to make a drastic change, swap something out, change something in, and put yourself on a path of excitement and trajectory towards success in something that you look forward to. And obviously that furthers the kingdom of God, but there's so many different ways to do that. And you have all these subcultures, you have all these career paths, you have all these ideas and dreams that are just different for everyone. And if you're not excited about your future, you need to workshop that. And that's not a place for this video, but you need to really evaluate yourself and think, why do I not like, why am I not enjoying what I have to do next week or the week after that? And your own mother dying, my mother, hopefully, is not going to leave this earth for a very long time. And hopefully that's the same for you, because when you have a cap on a date when they're going to depart from this earth, it's already too late to send her and to give her all the love that you've been wanting to give her. You have to start now. You have to inspect that relationship and think, how can I clean this up and pour love into her to make her feel loved, to make me happy about loving my own mother? This relationship is so precious. All your relationships to people who genuinely matter are so, so precious. And you have to love them genuinely now, because when they die, they're gone, you know? And even when they're at death's doorstep, maybe they have a year, maybe they have 5 years, it's already too late because their life is gone, their life is now. So in the light of death, make the life heightened, just like how we do for ourselves, where we know that we're going to die, so then we heighten our lives in the present. We should be loving others too, because they're going to die. If you outlive your spouse, let's hope that you've given your spouse all the love that he or she deserves when they were alive. I think that death needs to be talked about more. So my grandpa is currently 94. He sends me a Bible devotional every morning, and I just look up to him and respect him so, so much. So the past week, he fell off of his chair and he's been in the hospital. He's come back, but now all of the extended family is in a craze or in distress because they're just discussing, you know, the state of my grandpa. And in my opinion, I can't say this to them. I can't even say it to my own dad, but it's too late to discuss the state of grandpa because he's 94. He could die tomorrow. So what's their plan? What's your plan if you were to die tomorrow, even if you're 19? What's your plan if your mother, your parents die? What's the plan if you live a full life and you die at a nice, decent age? But have you talked about, you know, who's going to speak for you? Who's going to receive the gift, the fruit of your life? Who's going to receive what's this going to happen, that going to happen, how you're going to die, where do you want to die? All these things people don't talk about. And I'm coming from this from a standpoint of medicine, because even in the place of hospitals, that transparency of death is not there. Patients come in expecting to leave. Like, the extended family has to know that so many people die in the hospital, in the ICU. And, you know, at some point it has to be like, okay, you're going to die. Why don't you live your last couple weeks of your life at home where you want to be instead of the ICU where there's more stress, there's nothing to do, so they're bored out of their mind, and it's just like everyone just feels bad for you all the time. But when that patient, 85, 90-year-old patients at home, surrounded by their loved ones, isn't that such a better context for them to die? Like, bro. And even the acknowledgement from the youngest in the family to the very, very oldest in the family, that acknowledgement of death is at everyone's doorstep at some point. Just needs to be more open. I was having a conversation with a Muslim friend of mine, and that culture is very, very different because death is open on everyone's minds and even on their tongues. And it's a concept that people are open to and is acknowledged in the context of every family meeting. And in American families, in the Western families, in my family, we just don't. We grandpa's 94, we expect him to have another 10 years. And because we have been praying for the health and longevity of him, and God has blessed him with a very, very adventurous life, even till now. Like, bro, he flies flights, twice a year, going from Florida to New York, like, all the time. And he is healthy, but death, bro. Let me just say this. Life itself, Solomon knew this. Life itself is just utterly meaningless. You could be under a bridge. You could be completely rich and have 7 businesses across the globe. You still die, like Alexander the Great. The way he died is that he wanted doctors to line the funeral path as the people carried him to his tomb. He wanted all of his treasures to be surrounded him, and he wanted his hand to be sticking out of the tomb, because he wanted people to know that the doctors couldn't do anything, and even though he had all the wealth in the world, he couldn't take it with him to his death. So what do you take with you to your death? Well, there's definitely the stuff you leave behind. There's the impression that you leave behind on the people you love. There's the wisdom that you've given them before you left. And there's the love that remains in their hearts for them to give to the people who comes after you. And so, if you like this video, let me know if you like this candle. It's very cute. It's a Tealight. I got it from Cairo, Egypt. Well, actually, no. I got it from Luxor, Egypt. And if you like this video, give me a like. If you did not like this video, give me a dislike, but please tell me why. And I have this video for you right here. I picked it just for you. It's so special. It's literally the perfect video that you could watch. I'll see you later. Bye. And if your spouse outlives you, well,